Hi, everyone. This is Jeff Clark of the Pater Podcast. Welcome to 2025, and we're going to do something different this year. We're going to do a video with every CEO of a sponsoring company on our website. And first out of the gate is Blaine Monaghan, the CEO of Pacific Ridge Exploration. So, Blaine, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure. Happy New Year, 2025. It's going to take a while to
Yeah.
get used to saying that.
Well, Blaine, I said that we're going to start with a story first, and I understand you have something kind of interesting and a little amusing to share with us. So let's jump into it. You call it the what? The lessons of the ring? Is that what you said?
Lessons from the ring.
From the ring.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah. So, you wouldn't think it to look at me, but as a young man, I liken myself to being a tough guy. And so I wanted to prove myself. And so I entered into, a number of these tough guy competitions where, a bunch of amateurs would get into the ring and beat the hell out of each other. And there are a lot of lessons that I learned from that, and which I think are really applicable actually to being a junior mining CEO. But I'll start with the anecdote, and then we can get into the lessons and how they applied not only to our business but to our recent transaction where we just recently acquired
Yeah.
4 projects in the States. So I was a young man, and we all know young men aren't that smart. So I registered for this tough guy fight. And I remember walking into the change room, and it was full of grown men, uh, tough grown men. And one guy caught my eye, and he had tattoos all over. He had a goatee. He was shredded, and he looked terrifying. And all I could think to myself was, oh my goodness, I hope I don't have to fight that guy. Several moments go by. My name is called. It's time to get into the ring. And this is a big stadium. And so I'm making my way out to the ring. And lo and behold, who was across from me? It was that guy. And I was so scared. But I did my best to stay calm. And, they call you to the center. And, this was my first kind of real fight. But I knew one thing from watching lots of boxing movies: you never break eye contact. So I was staring into his eyes. And eventually he looked away. And I thought, well, that's pretty interesting. So go back to
Yeah.
the corner, come out, touch gloves, start swinging. And I'm punching this guy. And he seems somewhat defenseless. And I just seem to be able to pick him apart at will. And ultimately it got so bad, the ref just had to stop and end the fight.
You're
Uh,
kidding. Wow.
Yeah, so there are a lot of good lessons from that, and we can get into that a little bit. But I mean, I think the first one is you got to have confidence. We're basically in the ring every day approaching investors, and if you don't have confidence, you need that to inspire self-confidence in yourself and others around you, investors, the people that you work with. Another important one is stay calm, keep breathing. I mean, if you can't
Yeah.
stay calm, you're gonna gas out or you're gonna make a mistake, and that's the same in business as well. I mean,
Yeah.
you just got to make sure that you don't, even when you're up against it, step back, take the time to really think about what might be the best course of action. Another one is if your
Yeah.
strategy isn't working, don't be afraid to change it. Don't be prideful. I mean, you sometimes that's what's required. Even though you think that was the best course of action, sometimes it isn't. Don't be afraid to change midstream. The other one is keep moving. Really important. Don't ever stand still. And lastly, if all those things sometimes they don't work. If you get knocked down, you got to get back up.
Yeah.
You got to keep fighting. Get back into the ring.
Oh, that's great. That's a great story. I love it. And those are lessons that apply directly to the junior sector, but remind me not to get into a fight with you. So that's a good thing. Or at least to make you look away first. If we do that, if we get into a staring contest,
Varying
right?
contest, classic. That's an easy one for everybody.
Yeah. Well, Blaine, you did make one reason that you're our first video of the new year here is you came out with some pretty big news yesterday from the day we're recording this. And wow, this is impressive. You added 4 new projects And a lot of what you did basically, by the way, ties into the lessons you just said, but you added four new projects. So you now have eight copper projects in all in pro mining jurisdictions. You're going to spin out the gold projects into a new company and you consolidate it on a 10 to 1 basis, the shares. So, Blaine, walk us through this press release, all these things that you did, and what they mean for the company going forward.
Yeah, lots of change, and you're right. I think there's a lot of tie-ins to those sort of lessons. One is the I would say the Pacific Ridge has been very successful over the last few years. I mean, we segued into copper back in 2020 with the acquisition of Clayul and Redton, and that's when we pivoted to become a copper company. And since that time, we had acquired 5 copper projects in BC. We had spent $18 million on Clayul and RDP. And despite that, with some, I think, very good success, it wasn't being very well received in the marketplace. And that's where you come down to sometimes you have to change your strategy. So that's
You're
what we
right.
felt was necessary. Listen, we think copper is absolutely the right place to be. We're very happy with our copper projects in BC, and we own Clio and RDP 100%. But if the market is not giving you the love or attention you need, then maybe you've got to do something different. And that's exactly what we did here. So we're still absolutely bullish on copper. Uh, but because all of our projects are in BC, it also made sense that, well, listen, maybe we need to diversify our project holdings by acquiring some projects in the States and also address some of the weaknesses that exist with these BC projects, one being seasonality, infrastructure, and sometimes permitting. So the criteria we were looking at for these copper projects were that, first off, discovery potential, and I believe they have excellent discovery potential. One is that they had to be road accessible. You had to be able to work them all year round in a mining friendly state. So ultimately, these really complement our existing strategy. It makes us even stronger. So I'm very pleased with these
Yes.
projects. I'm absolutely bullish on copper, and I'm absolutely thrilled that we've sort of established ourselves as one of the leading North American copper exploration companies in the space. And
And
then the tough medicine, the consolidation, that's really no one wants to do it. But again, when you're trading at these sort of levels that you are, and you want to advance these projects, it's what's required to attract the new capital.
right. And as an existing investor, I was glad to see it. But and full disclosure to everyone, I am an investor in the company. I'm overweight the stock. They are a sponsor of our site. But again, it's by invitation only, and we get many requests. Only few invites we give out. But so I do own the stock, but back up a second, Blaine, just real quick. Is there one of those projects, the new ones, that Utah, Nevada, Arizona, right? Are there any of those that you might attack first or that have the most prospective geology or even some drill targeting, I believe?
Yeah, well, I like all of these projects. I like them all for different reasons. I mean, we can just sort of quickly run through them. So again, we're lucky, we already have these 5 projects in BC, and Clio and RDP are flagships. We own them 100%. The claims are in good standing for a decade. So there's no immediate need for us to have to do any work there. We will look for a senior mining company or companies to option them out to continue to advance them while we focus on these US assets. So why don't we start with Mineral Hill? We'll go in
Ah, gotcha.
alphabetical order. I really like Mineral Hill. This is a more gold dominant project, and that's why we acquired it, because this is a project that we will bolt on to the Yukon assets to spin out. This will be the lead project of the gold spin out.
And I'm sorry, say it again. I don't know if the video is going in and out a little, but go ahead.
Mineral Hill.
Okay.
And it's really exciting. I love its location. I mean, it's in the Black Hills Gold Province, so that's hosts the ex Homestake mine, which produced more than 40 million ounces gold. Core's Wharf Mine and Dakota Gold's projects are just 20 kilometers away, so it's in a great jurisdiction. There are some historic mines on site. It hasn't seen much recent drilling. I think the last drill program was a little over a half dozen holes back over a decade ago. So I think it's got great potential for high grade epithermal gold. and also porphyry. So it's going to be our
Uh,
focus for the gold Nuco. I hope this is a
Great.
project that we can get drill this year. The next project is Royston. We will definitely drill that project this year with Pacific Ridge. So Royston is very interesting because again, it's in a great state. It's in Nevada. A senior mining company did a small 5-hole reconnaissance program there in 2023. They did intersect porphyry mineralization. They were shallow reverse circulation holes, just reconnaissance, and they capped 2 of them for us to get back into for diamond drilling going deeper. So I want to drill Royston this year. It could be a pretty quick, easy, cheap test to determine whether you
Mm.
really have something by the, a tiger by the tail here. After that, I would talk about Red Star, which is in Utah, which is actually the #1 mining jurisdiction now, according to the Fraser Institute.
Uh,
I think it has similarities to Bingham. I mean, that'd be wonderful if that's the case, but it's a very intriguing target. It's right on the edge of a mining district. The target has never been tested. You do have surface expressions of a buried porphyry. You do have IP anomalies. Really, the last thing to do here is to drill it to test that. I don't know if that's something we will test this year, but Red Star I think has phenomenal discovery potential and could be huge if you actually hit something.
That's
And
great.
last is Ripsey, and again, Ripsey is just in a great jurisdiction. It's in Arizona. It's just south of the Ray mine, which is one of the largest copper mines in the world. It's seen some, there is a geophysical target. Historically, it's seen some shallow drilling. We'll do a little bit of geophysical work there this year in preparation for drilling. So all of these projects essentially are drill ready. Some are just further along than others, but all of them I think offer just excellent discovery potential. And I think we should talk a little bit about the group that actually we option them from. They're called Bronco Creek Exploration. They're a subsidiary of EMX Royalty, and they are experts. Bronco Creek, they develop these targets that their team. I think they've got about 120, 25 years of porphyry experience, predominantly in the Southwest U.S. And their models are fantastic. I have great confidence in what they've done and the targets they've generated.
Yeah, that's great. So you've got 8 total. So, Blaine, give us an idea of what we can expect from Pacific Ridge here, starting out of the gate in 2025. And by the way, if you're going to raise, we have a premium service. We'll help out with that. But maybe there's somebody listening that might be interested. So, kind of give us a timeline of what's coming up here in the near future from Pacific Ridge.
Well, I should give them a 1-800 number and tell them operators are standing by. Well, it's going to be really busy. So, I mean, we came out of the gate obviously with this announcement, and with that announcement, I mean, it basically starts the wheels in motion for lots of other actions. So, one is yes, a capital raise. Our requirements for this year will be pretty light. Again, the BC projects are in good standing, so we don't have to make expenditures there. As a part of our agreement with EMX, we have to spend a total of US 400,000 in the first year across all 4 projects. So that would easily be met with, initial drill program at Royston and doing some additional geophysical work at Ripsey. In the second year, we have to spend a total of 1.6 across all 4. Again, that would be met with another additional drill program. Um, so after a capital raise, you'd be looking for a drill program at Royston, some IP work at Ripsey, and start that spin out process of the gold projects. And we haven't talked about that too
Yeah,
much, but Pacific Ridge,
yeah.
we are focused on copper. Historically, we did conduct exploration in the Yukon, so we do have a portfolio of Yukon gold projects. Really, they're orphaned, so that's an important part of this transaction also is Mineral Hill kind of gives us that flagship project that we can bolt these Yukon assets onto and then spin out.
Ah,
So we'll start
ah,
that spin out process, and shareholders in Pacific Ridge will get some ownership in Goldco. So I think that's another
that's
great way that
great.
we can help unlock some value. And once we finish that spin out, then we'll look to move Mineral Hill towards the drill stage. And the other advantage with Mineral Hill, it's comprised of federal land and patented ground. So on the patented ground,
I was
you
going to
don't
ask you.
require, you can get to work right away.
That's great. That's great. So lots of activity, moving parts this year coming from the company. And Blaine, I have to say, I'm personally glad to see it as a shareholder, because a lot of companies, when the stock gets weak and in this market, boy, what are they going to do? And you've just come out of the gate here swinging, and
Absolutely. I'm getting off the
no
mat.
pun
I'm getting
intended
off the
there.
mat and I'm throwing haymakers.
Right. Very good. So anyway, congratulations, hats off. We'll be watching this year. I'm excited to see what Pacific Ridge does. So, um, Blaine, we're going to wrap it up here. Any final things you want to say to any viewers or potential investors?
I would just say I would thank existing investors for their patience. I know that this past year has been difficult, but rest assured, we've always been thinking about ways to try to get off the mat. And I
Yeah.
think we've done that here. I'm
Yeah.
really excited for the upcoming rounds, and we're just going to keep on swimming.
Yeah, you are off the mat and now you're ready to start punching again. So that's great.
Absolutely.
Well, Blaine, thanks very much for joining me, and thanks for watching, everyone, this episode of Pater Podcast. And stay tuned, subscribe below. Please hit like if you like this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye bye. Thank you.